Hello and welcome back to Effective Writing. Today we're going to talk about creative research. All good pre-writing will include research. And yes, you can groan. Nobody likes to have to hear the word research, especially if you're a student. But it's important to do a good amount of research, and we're going to talk about why. The first and most important reason that we do research, even in this more creative class, is that no one is an expert on everything. So even though you're writing a personal essay and the bulk of the experience that you're writing about is yours, you're not an expert on everything that happened to you in that essay. For example, if your essay takes place on, say, a boating trip that you had with your family, you may have been a child, 8 years old. It may have even been a few years ago, so maybe you were 15. But you don't really know everything there is to know about boating. Maybe you do, but just in case, you'll want to do some research to make sure that you know what you're talking about. You don't want to call the rigging or the siding or the technical names for anything just the wood, the thing, and do this really generalized description. You want to give it the most accurate description that there is. So do some research, and it's just some basic research on the items from your memory. Another reason to do research is that you can't remember everything. So if your memory, the source of your essay, involves other people, you probably will want to talk to those people to make sure that you're remembering it the way that it really was, or even just to see someone else's perspective to add that perspective to the essay. If it takes place at a certain place, you'll probably want to go visit that place if it still exists so that you can describe it accurately, so that you can remember even what road it's on. You'll want to look up everything about that memory that you can possibly find so that you can fill your essay with the most expertise and knowledge that you possibly can. And that helps your essay prove to your readers that you are a voice they can trust. You're not just pulling ideas out of the wind. You have really experienced things and you've really thought about them. And you've done a lot of research and digging around about these findings in your memory, and that will lead you to the truths that you're ultimately going to give them, and they can trust you because you've been truthful along the way and resourceful along the way, that when they get to that truth at the end, they can trust that it's probably good. It's probably a real thing that you're talking about. This truth is solid. It also aids your fight against looking stupid. We've all been there. We've all been talking to our friends or to a group of people, and we're getting on a topic that maybe we haven't thought much about before, but we feel pretty secure. And about halfway through a sentence, you get that really sinking, awful feeling, and you can see it in the eyes of everyone around you that what you are saying is completely stupid. Because you haven't done enough research on that topic yourself. You haven't thought enough about it. You haven't read enough about it. And so, for lack of a better phrase, you just end up looking stupid. Really, you look misinformed. So you want to make sure that that's not how you appear in an essay. And we've seen those kinds of essays in much smaller forms all over social media. People post their opinions, and you can see in their 3 sentences probably 50 holes because it's something that you've thought about before and you've read about a lot, and maybe you've heard other lectures on or sermons on or whatever the case may be. So it's easy for you to spot them. Well, your reader, if he may have come from a background that he's very informed on your topic, and if you are not at least as informed as he is, you have no business writing this essay. So you need to make sure that you are as informed as you can possibly be. It also gives you credibility, and that goes back to what we said a couple minutes ago, that you want to guarantee to your reader that you are worth their time, that they can trust what you're saying. And it also provides you with more material, knowledge, and understanding to work with. If nothing else, it will help you reach your dreaded word limit. When you do that kind of research and you read and you talk to people and you visit places, it fills you with more than what you originally thought you had. And that will help fuel your essay and help fill it with all those kinds of details and truths that you need to make a really good essay. And least of all, it helps you meet that word count. There are several types of research. The first we're going to look at is the interview. The idea of interviewing people sounds so formal and journalistic, but really an interview is just a conversation. You call up the people or ask the people who you know out to coffee that were there with you in that memory or in that event, and you just have a conversation with them about it. You just want to make sure that you ask them open-ended questions to get them talking. And what I mean by open-ended questions is that they're not just yes or no. Were you at the event when I had this boating incident? Oh yeah. That's a yes or no question, and it doesn't lead anywhere. If you say, why were you with me that day when we went boating back when I was 15? Then the person starts talking. Oh, well, I think I was with you because weren't we celebrating my graduation? Was it my graduation we were celebrating? And he'll start talking, and it'll both get your brains rolling, trigger memories, and you'll start talking. You could say, what happened when? And then he'll give his memory on what happened. And so you ask those questions, which we know as the adverb questions if you're looking for an adverb in a sentence. And the interview can be done in person, over the phone, by email, by text. The only way that you want to really avoid doing an interview is by snail mail, and that's only for the sake of time, and that's only if it's your last possible option. Get people talking about the memories and what they know, and you do that through those open-ended questions. If you ask the right questions, and usually it only takes a few of them at the most, those people will start talking and giving you much more information than you were asking for, and that's good. You want that. You'll also want to consult printed sources, and here's a list of printed sources that you for sure want to go look through. If the event in your memory was at a specific historical event, if the day of your boating incident also happened on September 11th, that's something that you'll want to write about, mention. Those are important things. So look up news articles for the date of your event. Maybe your date, you just know that it was April 15th, and you don't really know what in the world was happening on April 15th of 2008 or whenever it happened. But you can look up April 15th, 2008 and see what events were going on at the time. They may not add any significance or relevance to your essay, but they might, and at least it will help fuel you. If you keep a diary or a journal, you'll want to look up those entries. Ask the people that you're interviewing if they have any journal entries or diaries on that event. Consult books. You can look in books for the information you need about your topic. Search public records. Pictures. It's true that they speak 1,000 words, so if you look at a picture from that time in your memory, that might fuel some more material. And you can even use social media, especially if the event happened within the last 10 or so years. With the revolution of Facebook, you just go back in your history and see maybe you posted something about it. Maybe your friends posted something about it. And you can consult almanacs. Maybe you don't remember what the weather was that day, and that may or may not be important to your essay, but you can check and see where that leads. And don't forget to do your footwork. Go to the places in your memory if they still exist. If your essay takes place in a Starbucks you used to frequent, then go back to that Starbucks. If nothing else, you can treat yourself to a cup of coffee or tea and really take in the atmosphere of that place. Pay attention to the smells and the sounds and use those things to fill your essay with life so that your characters, who are real people, aren't just sitting in a cafe. They're not just sitting in a Starbucks. In this Starbucks, the room was L-shaped and smelled of bitter roasting coffee. And fill the essay with those details that really make it come to life. Find objects to use as models for your research. Basically, you can't do all your research from a computer, which sometimes is very frustrating because when you're in the heat of the moment and your essay is coming along and you're really going, and suddenly you realize you need some information, it's really annoying to have to stop and go visit a place or whatever the case may be. And sometimes you're not always able to visit the place. If it was a place from your childhood, like a skating rink or something, it may have been demolished or remodeled into some other place that you can't even visit now. But don't be afraid to get out and hunt for the material that will give you the details and richness your essay really needs. You've got to dig to find those treasures. All right? So as you are working on your essays, make sure that you're doing that research, that you're getting out there, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me.